In this episode of Tesla series, we are reviewing this mini instrument cluster display for Tesla Model 3 and Model Y that shows basic and advanced information such as autopilot indicator, turn signal, speed, hill hold, and so much more. We'll do an unboxing, show you detailed step-by-step installation guide, ride along to demonstrate features, software patched for bug fixes, and end our video with our review. What is going on, everyone? Shiva Sapkota here with another Tesla accessory review. Today we have this mini instrument cluster display. This is much larger than the super mini instrument cluster that we reviewed a couple months ago, where it was a very hit product. A lot of people actually liked that one because of how much less real estate it took compared to other instrument clusters. And this one is the same but an upgraded version. This is slightly larger but also includes a lot of other information such as autopilot, turn signal, door open close. It shows all the odometer, it shows the battery percentage. So I'm really excited to bring this out to you. This device is sent to us by TMA, Tesla Motor Accessories. They have a large selection of Tesla Model 3 and Model Y accessories on their website. So please do check them out and use Shiva Tesla as a discount code. Thank you very much for clicking on this video. Please give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so, and let's get started. What surprised me the most about this product is, if you look at it, this is a very, very small instrument cluster, but this is rather a large wiring harness. And the reason this is because they included one harness that does the job for both Intel and the AMD chips for all cars. So either if you have an older Tesla Model 3 or Y like mine, or a newer Tesla Model 3 or Y that uses an AMD plug, you can use this because this smaller pin is for the Intel chips, and then these larger ones are for the AMD chip. And I'll show you how to install on both cars here. Even though the wiring looks a little scary, it is pretty straightforward. So first of all, this end of the wiring just goes and connects to the red and yellow on this side for the instrument cluster. Now you are left with two different type of plugs. This one is for the Intel cars. If you have an older Model 3 or Y, this is where you bypass that difficult to access plug underneath the glove box. And how you know that is because this is a very small plug and there's a fuse for that. And the Intel cars do not require 12-volt supply because you can extract 12-volt directly from the OEM plug. Now this side is for the AMD car. So if you have an AMD car, you can use this larger plug to bypass that blue plug in the door pillar, and I'll show you how to do that in just a second. And then this is your power supply, and you will find this as well, the bypass for this as well on the door pillar, and this is the fuse for that. So AMD only, you don't have to use this for the Intel. This is only for the Intel, you don't have to use any of that. Then you just go here. To find out if you have an Intel or an AMD chip, just go to the software section of your car and hit additional vehicle information. And right here, it will show Intel Atom for Intel cars, and it will show AMD Ryzen for the newer cars. To get started, we're gonna have to remove this dash panel and just take the pry tool that they send and start prying on this side panel. This is something we have done a lot in our channel, so our panel is probably very loose and yours could be stubborn if you have never removed it, but just be patient with it. Use a pry tool like this and then peel it out. If you have an older Tesla, you also need to remove this panel, but because we replaced ours with this carbon fiber dash, we don't have that panel here, and the newer Teslas are gonna have the same thing. But if you see a little slit on the top here, then you can use a pry tool to just pry on that slit, and then this panel just comes out. We have demonstrated this past on other videos. So once you do that, go ahead on the right side. You also need to remove this door panel, the side door panel, by just prying on it. Again, ours is super loose because we have done it so many times. Now we're gonna go to the other side and do the same thing on the driver's side. So exact same thing here. Take your pry tool, then pry on this panel. Yours is probably tight if you have never removed this. And then again, if you have an older Tesla, pry right here. If you can see a slit, then this panel also comes out. To remove the dash, all you have to do is pry up on the edge here and do that on all sides throughout the dash, and this one just comes out. This dash is held down by several clips, and it shouldn't require much force, but again, if you have never done this, it might be a little tight, but again, don't use too much force. This shouldn't require much force. To make the computer connection, we are going to be opening up this glove box panel right here. This is held down by several plastic clips that I'll show you how to remove them. It's just using a pry tool. So for the Intel computer, your plug is going to be right here. for the AMD ones, you're also going to want to remove this pillar right here. And to do that, you can just use this pry tool, pry up on this clip right here. Then there's going to be a blue plug for the AMD connection, and then as well as a white plug here for the power for the AMD connection. Remove those 4 plastic screws. You can use a pry tool to remove them. Once the panel is removed, you will see the LED light connector, which can be removed by pinching on the middle tab and pulling it out. Then the speaker plug can be disconnected by simply pulling on the plug. Next step, what you want to do is grab your red and yellow connector, and you want to pass it through here. There's a little opening from the bottom, and you just want to find that opening and then grab those plugs from this side. And you might have to do it one at a time, but you'll find it right here. So after you do that, we want to route this through here. So we want to pass it through this harness right here, and then we want to pass this all the way towards the front, towards the steering wheel. So that's going to be our next step, is to get this cable and pass it all the way as far as you can take towards the steering wheel, and we will be connecting that to the instrument cluster in the front. This is the difficult plug we need to remove for the cars with an Intel chip. You just have to pinch on the middle tab, and while holding it down, pull the plug out. Then take the new harness and plug the male Tesla adapter into the female adapter of the new harness, and then take the new male adapter and plug it into the Tesla computer. Make sure to align the plug straight to prevent bending Tesla pins. Again, this is super tedious and requires a lot of patience. At the end, it should make a complete circuit. So for the AMD version, what you're going to do is remove this pin right here that will allow you to remove this door panel. And right around here, you're going to see a blue plug. And that's what you're going to connect this plug to, the blue plug. And then on the side, you are going to see a white plug right about here. And that's where you are going to use this white plug to bypass that plug on the door panel. Now we need to route this cable towards the steering wheel. And to do that, again, just drop this cable towards the steering wheel and still leave some cable in the down. And then you can use some masking tape or electrical tape to just center this cable. So the goal is you don't want this cable to be touching any of this clip holes here. So you want to put this away. This masking tape is not going to hold the cable down, and we don't need to, but this is just so that the cable doesn't move and it doesn't interfere with any of this clip. So go ahead and do that all around to there, and then we're going to make that connection in the steering wheel. So we just need to make sure that it doesn't interfere with any of this dash clips. So hold it down using masking tape or electrical tape. So for the installation of the actual instrument cluster, after you remove your dash, all you have to do is align this cluster in the very center of this notch. So this notch is for the steering wheel. So you just want to align this in the very, very middle so that you can install this directly here, so that it's not kind of on the edge. So this might be a little bit of trial and error, and depending on how much of an OCD you are, you might want to use a ruler or count the holes here on the air vent. And basically what you want to do is, after you found the exact air vent that you want to put this in, and it goes in directly inside the air vent, before you install that, go ahead and align where the cable need to go. So in my case, the cables need to pass through this hole right here. So I'm going to pass the cable. There are two of them, the red and yellow, and just make sure you pass the red one towards the left and then the yellow towards the right. And once you're done with that, then you can simply go ahead and align this right here. Then you can go ahead and push it in, and that's it. That is how you install this whole thing. And if you look at it, it matches this ascent here. So that's pretty cool that it matches that and makes it look more OEM. And if you have a wood dash, that's what you would have here. But that's it. It's fully secured and installed, and this is not moving anywhere. But at the same time, if you really wanted to remove it, you just have to apply a little bit of force and then it comes out. So this is what it looks like after the installation, and in the bottom you got your wire and then those two clips that we inserted through the top. There's no screws, no nothing required, so pretty easy installation. So for this next step, we have routed both of this cable from the other side, and all we have to do is really align. There is a little arrow that you have to match on both of this. So there's that power one and here's the data one, and we just have to match that arrow and then push this in, And that's it. That's everything we need to do. Let's test to make sure it powered on, and looks like we have power, so this is good to go. We're gonna clean up some of the wiring and we can push this down. So once you ensure there are no cables that are being pinched by these pins, you can go ahead and push this down to secure it. And might be a little stubborn, just put some force and it should go in. While you're stationary, this is what you see while you're in park. So starting with the left, the 83% battery range. And if we look at the Tesla here, it is 83% battery range. The second one from the left is the car door indicator. So if I were to open my door, it will show right there. And this only works for the 4 doors. It does not work for the trunk or the front. The middle one is the speed. So if I was to start driving, the speed shows the current speed and it matches with the Tesla. And then towards the next one, towards the right, is the speed limit that you see while driving. While park, that goes away. And then the gear selection. So it is park right now. If I put in reverse, it shows that. If I put in drive, it shows that. If I put in park again, that's what you see. And then neutral, you see that. So you see all gears there. And then the very bottom is distance to empty, which is the range. So if I was to take that out, so 194 miles and 194 miles. So it shows that as well directly on your view. And that is everything that you see while stationary. Of course, there's the turn signals that you can see. If you turn on the hazard sign, it will populate. If you turn on the high beam, that will populate. I'm still trying to get them to show the headlight. Right now, if I turn on the headlight, it does not show anything. So I'm hoping that they can figure that out in the near software update. I don't think that would be very hard for them to populate. So that's everything that you see as a stationary. So this is everything that you see while driving. So again, the battery percentage towards the left, your door indicator, which hopefully that doesn't activate while driving. And then the middle one is just the speed. So it is very in sync with the Tesla. So 20, 20, as you can see. Then towards the right, you got your speed limit on that red circle, 25. We look at it here, it's 25. Then you got your gear, which is driving, of course, while driving, and then distance to empty, so 194. That is the current miles. And if we look at it here, it is 194. It is 194, so that matches as well. So that's everything you can see. And this is the driver's view. So when you look at it from the driver's view, this is what you see. Again, everything in a one centralized location is not as tiny. It is actually pretty great for the eyes, and you can see just the right information that you need to see in front of your eyes. Now, another thing this can do is if we put our car in drive and we drive, and then we need to make a stop and hold for the hill, let's say. So right here, we're going to press really hard on our brake and just keep pressing. You see the hill hold sign here? That is also reflected on this little device right here. So that's pretty neat that you can even see that. The hill hold right here. One unique thing about this display is that it actually shows the autopilot indicator. So if I turn on the autopilot, watch what happens on the screen. You immediately see that indicator happening right here, letting you know that the autopilot is turned on, which is pretty awesome. So it matches what you see here. The speed and everything is exactly the same, but now the autopilot indicator is also there. Everything is very in sync with the Tesla. The speed, when I put it on turn signal, it shows exactly what you see on the Tesla. So this is a great instrument cluster where you can see it directly in front of you. Alright, something interesting happened with this display, and I want to share this experience with you. I got a rare opportunity to test this company's software patching abilities. I had this display installed, and I got a software update from Tesla yesterday. When I let it run, after the update, I found some issues with this display, including a mismatch between the speed. So the speed wasn't syncing up well. There was a high beam headlight sign turned on, and some of the information that was reading from the Tesla to the display was wrong. It was delayed, and that happens because the display is trying to read into Tesla's tables of information such as speed, and sometime when Tesla software update happened, that gets moved around so that they have to remap it. So what I did, and this was yesterday, so what I did was I sent them a video of, hey, look, Tesla's update pretty much broke my display. Now it is not usable. Can you get it fixed? So they worked on it overnight back in China, and this morning I woke up where they had already sent me an update. So I put it on my computer, I put it on a little SD card, and then I'll show you the step on how to do that here in just a second. But basically I put it in, and right after the update that they sent, everything is back to normal. I can see the speed, the high beam sign is gone, everything is matched, everything is in sync. So I am really glad that this happened, because I could get more confident from the company now that they know what I'm talking about. They can exactly see what happened and able to resolve it very, very quickly. So kudos to the company. This is always a concern, because every time we review something, there's a lot of questions of what happens if there's a Tesla software update and something breaks on this display. Now, I'm not saying that they can fix it as quickly for everything, all the displays out there, but it gives me confidence that they know what we're talking about and they know the Tesla system very well on how to resolve issues like this. So a couple of things I need for a software update. They sent me a software update file and I had to put it on a 32 GB micro SD card. I don't know why that is 32 GB, but probably something to do with the system. So I have that and a little pin like this, like a SIM ejector pin, because we're going to put this software, this SD card with the software, onto this slot here, and then we are going to press on this reset button and it should power cycle and fix those bugs. So I'm going to take my micro SD card and then insert it here. This way it doesn't look like it is going to go in, so I'm going to face it the other way. Yep, this way looks like it went in up to that level at least. Now they told me to push here on the reset. That turned off, so let me see when it turns back on. Yep, looks like everything is fixed. I don't have that headlight here. The distance to empty is now in miles, so 140, and those are the bugs that we saw. Everything is very well in sync with Tesla. The speed, distance to empty, the battery percentage. When I put it in turn signal, it works exactly how it is with Tesla. So it follows the Tesla really, really well. There is no bugs now. So all those bugs that I had reported initially when I just started testing, they took care of it very, very quickly too. So I have great confidence in this company that they will continue to fix those bugs. And right now, the high beam, you can see, let's try the Autopilot here really quick. And the Autopilot indicator turns on. So that means this is also working really well. All right, after thoroughly testing this instrument cluster, here's my verdict. Let's start with my likes and we'll move on to my dislikes. The airflow blockage is very minimal, because if you look at it, it doesn't block very many air vents here, and you're still getting the airflow from here, as well as all of these air vents are unused, and it is not blocking your view. So any airflow diverted is still coming towards the top. So it's a perfect size for many people. We had a lot of comments on the very small instrument cluster that we reviewed. It kind of wedged in between here, that it was too small. So this is a little bit of a larger size, and if you look at it from here, it becomes apparent that it's a bit of a larger size. And when I'm looking at it from the driver's perspective, it is not so much of a small system. It still gives you all the information. Again, if you're looking for a larger instrument cluster, we have reviewed a lot of those in this channel, but this is somewhat of a mid-size instrument cluster. I like that this matches the color with the back here, just making it more seamless, and it doesn't take very much real estate. I also like that the Autopilot sign actually shows up here, unlike many other instrument clusters we have reviewed here. Of course, the biggest benefit of having an instrument cluster is so you can see everything unobstructed in your view rather than having to look towards the right. And this does just that. It shows you the speed limit, it shows you all the turn signal, it shows you the current speed, it shows you how much battery that you have remaining, and everything that you need to know directly in front of your view. Could it show more? Sure, but I think this instrument cluster is just designed to just provide those basic information. Of course, this is not going to have something like a CarPlay or a map. It's too small for that. But in my opinion, it shows everything that the little mini cluster showed, plus a little bit more, including the Autopilot sign, some of the lights, and it just shows a little bit more comprehensive information here. And if you are just in a market for that, where you want to be able to see the basic information while you drive directly in front of you, this is a pretty great product. A couple of things that I don't love about this install is for such a small device and to see just the basic information, the installation was rather difficult. I wish we didn't have to tap into that front OBD port and they could make it work with just the rear OBD port. I mean, things like Teslogic can do it just with the rear OBD. I'm not sure why they are going with the front OBD. So that's my biggest beef, was the installation is not too easy for such a small device, but we do show you step-by-step installation guide if you do want to attempt this install. Another thing I wanted to make it very clear is that when you look at this display in a direct sunlight, you'll see that it will have kilometer per hour and kilometer on the distance to empty as etched directly onto the LCD, but it doesn't have etched miles or miles per hour. So when you get this display and when you are in a region that uses miles per hour or miles, then it will just say nothing on the unit. It will just be empty. It will show the numbers in miles. It will show the distance to empty, the range in miles, but it just won't say miles. But if you are in the region with kilometer per hour or kilometer, then it will say actual unit kilometer per hour. The number is correct. It is just that the unit, because it is etched within the device, they cannot change the unit to miles. They can just make it empty so that you will not see kilometer, but it is, still etched in the background. While you are driving it, they're essentially shining the light on just the right information that you need to see. So just keep that in mind. It is not going to say miles per hour or miles. It will just show you the number in miles, the range in miles, the speed in miles per hour. It just won't say the unit. That is everything I had for you all today. Please do me a favor, leave me a comment letting me know if you have any questions, your thoughts, anything that you want to share about this display when you were watching this video, or after you watch this video and you have any thoughts. Just let me know in the comment section below. I'll always love reading those comments. Also help us engage with our videos. Comments, likes, shares, anything that you can do. Subscription, it helps us rank higher on YouTube's algorithm so that we can continuously bring videos like this, continue to test softwares and hardwares, and bring everything that you need to know about these devices here in the channel. Thank you very much for your continued support. We'll be back again with another Tesla video soon.